The Google Pixel 3 line was a big phone for me. Not because I bought it, I was still using the 2XL at the time. But I spent so much time talking about my Google Pixel that 2 people at work took my recommendation and went out and bought one. This one, the Google Pixel 3 XL. Did they make the right choice? We're going to be taking a look back at the life and launch of the Google Pixel 3 XL. Answering the question, can you still use this phone today and should you buy it? Let's start with the launch of this thing. In October 2019, we got 2 phones, the Google Pixel 3 and the Google Pixel 3 XL. The Pixel 3 was a small phone with flagship specs, and the XL was just its bigger brother, but with a notch instead of a bezel. And that's where all the initial reaction was aimed at. And rightly so really, because Google was carrying on that theme of giving us like hardware that looked a couple of years older than the competition, hoping that the cameras and software experience would keep us happy enough to still buy it. Except it didn't just look a little bit older than the competition. It looked weird, a little bit weird. The top bezel was thin, which is great, except there's a big notch in the middle, which it looked a bit strange. The bottom bezel of the chin, that's still quite thick as well. People started calling the notch on this thing a bathtub notch because it was deep like a tub. But like any other notch or hole punch cutout, you just tend to forget about it after a little bit of using the phone. The only time I was reminded about it really was when I was trying to watch YouTube videos and it just sort of took a big cut out of the content you were trying to watch. It cuts in pretty deep. You can turn the notch off in the settings, but it's pretty pointless, it just makes your screen smaller. It would have to really be bugging you to resort to that. And in all reality, I think the abuse this notch got was a little bit unfair, because it was around the same size as the iPhone notch at the time, just a different shape. It was deeper rather than wider. Now if we turn this phone over, that's where things really start to advance a little bit in a really good way. You'd be forgiven for thinking the back of this phone is made from 2 different materials, but it's not. It's all glass. The top part is a glossy finish and this bottom part is like a frosted finish. Apart from just looking really nice and keeping that pixel aesthetic, it actually added some major functionality as well. We got wireless charging. Before we talk about that though, there was a downside to the finish on the back. It scratches like crazy and the black one showed it up the worst. This one I have right here is a bit of a middle ground. The black one definitely shows it up the worst and the white one shows it up the least. At the same time the Google Pixel 3 was launched, we also got the Pixel Stand, which was an accessory so that you could just dock your phone and wirelessly charge it. And while your phone's docked, it turns into a mini home hub. I did a whole video on the wireless charger actually, I'll put a little link up at the top. I can't remember, but the wireless charger might have come free if you pre-ordered the phone, or at least it came with a big discount if you pre-ordered it. Let me know down in the comments if you can remember. Anyway, back to the front of this thing. This screen is a 6.3 inch POLED display. The always on display lets you see stuff like the time and the now playing feature without having to interact with your phone. Now playing is such an underrated feature. If you haven't used a Pixel before, it basically just tells you what song's playing in the background. So if there was someone playing music outside, I would just look at my phone and it would tell me what song it is. The screen is Corning Gorilla Glass 5, but like any phone, if you drop it from high enough, the screen's going to break. This is the newest phone I'm adding to my Pixel collection, so I've not managed to scratch the screen yet. The screen to body ratio here is 83% due to that chin and the big notch. Inside the notch we have a little speaker and then a bigger speaker down at the bottom to give us stereo speakers. There's no headphone jack, but if you bought this new, it did come with USB-C headphones in the box. So if you're buying a boxed one of these, make sure that's included. Inside the notch you have 2 selfie cameras, a wide and an ultra wide, both of them 8 megapixels. Now there's an ultra wide, maybe you could even vlog with this thing. You'll have to let me know if the mic here is good enough to do a whole vlog. This video is capped at 1080p 30 frames a second. If you want 4K video, then you need to spin round to the back camera where you have a lot more control. You can film 4K 30, but if you went down to 1080p, you can go all the way up to 120 frames a second. I think this is the last main line of Pixels we saw with just a single camera on the back. And this is a 12 megapixel wide lens. I'll pop some pictures on screen now so you can get an idea of the quality of these photos. Now we've got to the part where I tell you how much I miss this fingerprint scanner on the back. Under the screen ones just aren't as good. And the optical sensor that Google uses on its new phones just blinds you whenever you want to unlock your phone at night. This phone came in 3 colours, just black, clearly white, and this one I've got right here which is not pink, which is definitely more of a sandy colour and not pink. Normally I would have a favourite colour, but I think all these phones look great with this finish on the back and all those colours. This phone launched with Android P or Android Pie, or Android 9 if you're one of those boring people. And it can be updated all the way up to Android 12 or Snowcone. That does mean you won't be getting any more Android updates or security updates for this phone. I'd highly recommend checking out some third-party ROMs just so you can keep this phone more secure. The Google Pixel 3 line is IP68 water resistant, and under the hood it has a Snapdragon 845 chip, which even today runs really smoothly. That's just one of the perks of a Pixel. Because it's just stock Android, it doesn't take a lot to make it run well, and for a long time, even after your phone stops getting updates. The 3400 mAh battery is just fine. It's fine for this phone. If you try and push it with a few hours of gaming, then you're definitely not getting through the day. But a general day of answering text, scrolling social media, taking phone calls, this should get you through the day fine. This one I've got right here is 64 gig of storage with 4 gigs of RAM, but you could get it with 128 gigs of storage. Now, in pretty much every video I do, there's a comment about, oh, why don't you mention about unlimited photo storage that you get with this phone? Well, I got an email from them it's years ago now saying that they completely stopped doing that, and I've tried to get it to work again. I haven't been able to get one of my old phones to give me the unlimited photo storage, but if I do find out how to do it, I'll definitely be making a video on it. Or if you know how to do it, let me know down in the comments. Because how great would it be if you could buy an old phone and just get unlimited photo storage instead of having to buy like an expensive hard drive? So should you buy this phone? You can get it for around £80 now here in the UK, and it is a good phone. But because Pixels don't really hold the value that well, for the same price as this phone, or maybe just a little bit more, you could go and get yourself the Google Pixel 4 XL. And if you ignore like the battery life issues that came with that phone, you do get a lot more features there, so it's definitely one worth considering. If it was me, I'd probably be picking up the 4 XL instead of this one. If you want to become a Pixel pal, then hit that subscribe button. And if you want to hear more about the Pixel 4 XL, that video is on screen now. I'll see you over there.